Hello, my friends. So, if you're one of those folks who wants to get out there, wants to start producing videos, wants to get your face out there, your name out there, but you're just a little bit put off or intimidated by all the tech and all the equipment and everything that you're going to need, well, then this is for you. So I'm going to give you a little behind the scenes look at my home studio and the equipment that I chose, why I chose it. So we'll go through the cameras, plural, the lights, microphone, the software, and everything that it takes to put a video like this out to all of you. So stay tuned. All right, so let's start with the basics because I don't necessarily want to scare you with a humongous big budget. So start with what you've got. Now, you're going to need a computer or a laptop. Personally, I am a Mac user. Why? Because it syncs with my phones, my tablets, and all of the tech equipment that I need. However, if you are a Android or a Windows person, that's great. What I'm recording this on right now is the built-in camera that's attached to my MacBook Pro and the microphone that's inside the MacBook Pro. So the only thing I have to add, if all I've got is my MacBook Pro camera and microphone, would be the lights. So that could possibly be your first purchase. Let's get into that. So we'll start with lighting, and I'm recording this using my iPhone. And so let's just say, for sake of argument, you don't have a lighting kit or anything to light you up from the front. Let's turn that off. You can still get plenty of FaceTime, and people can still see you even if you don't have a professional light set. Here's the thing you can use. If you've got a bright sunny day, you can face the window and have the light, natural light coming in that lights you up from the front. And here's what I'll say about lighting. If you're on video and you're on doing a video, or you're presenting yourself and there's not enough light, you're in the dark, or you've got a lot of shadow on your face, this is what's going to cause your viewers to be confused with what they're seeing. They might be like, well, you know, the trees are making a shadow, or this side of your face is not shown, which if you're doing it for dramatic effect, then talk about that being for dramatic effect. But if you're really wanting to present something and share yourself and share you and get your brand out there, which is you are a brand, then you want to be seen, right? So now I'm going to turn this camera around and show you the light set that I have, which I got, and I'll send the links for everything below this video, that I got a set of 3 because it was just more affordable to buy 3 of them instead of just 1. So let's take a look at these soft boxes that I have. They sit right there. So the one up here I have facing pretty much across that light colored curtain, and then the one over here faces towards my face. I wanted a lot of diffused natural light, so this is what they do when they're turned on. Now, I don't pretty much need these when I am using daylight and the windows are open. It's pretty much a lot of light, but a lot of times I'm doing my videos when it's pitch black outside. So it's important to be well lit, right? Right. Hey there. So I wanted to show you the inside of one of these soft boxes. So as you can tell, I mean, they're a pretty good size, but look, it just looks like the inside. There we go. Inside of like an umbrella, really. And then this is the colossal bulb that goes in it. Now, not all of them have one this size. The 2 I've got up here, they've got like 5 or 6 smaller ones, like the regular size that you buy in the hardware store. I'm not quite sure why this one is so colossal. Probably because I don't know, maybe it's an extra one. I will say that this particular softbox, being as it's one on its own, is a little bit different. It's a different, slightly bigger. It also comes with its own tripod and a big long extension arm. The neat thing about this is the actual softbox filter goes on just like this, and all the spokes inside the box itself, they all come out. It gets attached to a little ring on the inside. You just take them out and fold it up, just like an umbrella. And this thing is a film that goes over the top. There are little Velcro enclosures on the side. I think it's pretty neat. And the whole set was pretty inexpensive. Now, I could have gone all kinds of ways with lighting. They make, for those who are really into photography, they make warm lights, cool lights, all these different settings. For me personally, that's too much complication. I wanted something that I could put up pretty quickly, plug in and click on. So we've covered the lighting. I want to say one real quick thing. Some of you also have ring lights and they're perfect. Great. And they're usually inexpensive. You can pick them up at most places. My reason for choosing these soft boxes, two reasons. Number one, the bulbs in some of the ring lights are really temperamental, burn out quickly. If they're not on the right stand, they can fall over and smash. I didn't want to deal with any of that. Secondly, I wear glasses. So if you're tilting your head up and around and about, you're seeing those little rings in the lenses. Even if you have anti-reflective lenses like I do, you can still see the lights. Does it matter? Yes, because as a viewer, if you've ever watched a video and you've seen the presenter talking and they're moving their head around and you can see the reflection in their glasses, my brain goes there to what I'm seeing and I'm missing what they're saying. Make sense? Yes. So let's move on to the sound. I had previously recorded using the built-in microphone from my MacBook Pro. Now I've switched into using this Samsung G-Track Pro. So why did I choose it? Because it has several options. Comes like this. There you go. Very smart looking microphone. It's also heavy. So it's not flimsy and I'm not likely to knock it over. I can be a clumsy bugger when I put my mind to it and stuff goes all over the place. I also didn't want anything too delicate. So I wanted something big and beefy. I also wanted a plug and play microphone. You plug it into a USB-A or a hub, or I've got this control center down here, which I'll go through in a minute. And it finds it. The system finds it's easy to set up. That's what I needed. So taking a look at this, I'll hold it up. You can see we've got the microphone. We have an instrument if I want to plug in an instrument. And then we've got a volume control. Then over here, we have the figure 8, cardioid, and omni options for how this finds the sound. Then we have mono setting and a 2-track setting. Well, why do I need to know what a 2-track setting is? Well, if I happen to be playing an instrument, then I would need to have a 2-track on it. The other benefit of having the different sound patterns is if I'm interviewing someone and they're on the other side of the desk, you want to be able to hear them with the same microphone. Say you're having a conference around a table, that might be a perfect microphone to place in the middle. But this is when you go down the road, get a little bit more complicated. You could stick with your built-in microphone with your MacBook and you'll be just fine. All right, so now we're going to get into we've done the microphone, we've covered the lights. Now we're going to get into the different cameras that I use and what I do with them. So, and once again, 3 years ago, I knew nothing about how to do any of this. I just had a good time and a giggle putting all this together. To think that I am now teaching you and showing you that you can do this too is beyond thrilling to me. So this camera I'm using here is my iPhone camera attached to a small handheld tripod with a little attachment that lets you hold up. You've got one of those things. You've got those. I know you've got those things you hand around with an attachment on there that holds a iPhone. There you go. Now I'm going to move over to the overhead camera, which is right out of shot, and show you what that looks like right here. So this happens to be the 4K. It's a Logitech 4K Pro webcam. I just picked this up last weekend because the last one I had a crack across the street. Now, this one is a little bit annoying because you can see it pulsing, going back and forth, trying to focus. So it might take a while for this to focus. I want to keep it because I like it. But now you see I've just jiggled the camera a bit and it's stabilized. You're going to have or at least I have some of these technical issues once in a while, but you just have to roll with it, flow with it. It's all okay. It's all good. Just makes you human, that's all. So now I'm going to go over to our FaceTime camera, which is the one that's built into the laptop. And if I move the screen, you can see that it moves with the screen. That was another somewhat annoyance. It was a little limiting. If I wanted to sort of move around, it was good, but the camera being built in, it's in that one space, that one spot. This is the Logitech I was just telling you about, the Logitech 4K Pro webcam. Now, do you need a 4K webcam? No, not really. Should you be shooting in 4K? Probably not. It uses a lot of memory. Those 4K videos look amazing. They look lovely. They look great. But unless you've got tons and tons and tons of storage and memory on your MacBook or your laptop or your computer, I don't know that's going to make a lot of difference. Plus, when you're downloading them, as I do, into a software program, and for me to edit this, put this together, I'm using iMovie. That's it. Nothing complicated. When you're loading these into those the software program to then upload it to whatever platform you're using, that's a lot of memory. So just a couple of things to bear in mind. Now we're going to move over to the camera that I upgraded to, and I'll tell you why I did that. All right, so now we're moving into the Mac Daddy that I chose, that I wanted. It was on my Christmas wish list, and this is the reason I chose it. I wanted to have a soft background. I wanted to have a sharp foreground, and I had seen a lot of videos showing different cameras. The word DSLR, mirrorless camera, intimidated me. I didn't know what it was. I had no clue. But I was determined to learn. Basically, it's a pretty good piece of kit that has multiple uses. I'm not going to pull it apart off that stand and show you what it looks like in my hand, because putting it back together would be a bit of a nightmare. But I'm going to show you which one I chose. So there were two that were competing with each other. The Canon M50 and the Sony A6100. The challenge I had when I was doing all of this, we were in the middle of a pandemic, and the world and their wife, husband, partner, everybody in the world was going out buying tech equipment. Zoom was flying off the charts. People were doing their home video and conferencing galore. So supply chain issues were an issue. That didn't stop me though. I was determined. So the first camera that I kind of landed on for many reasons was the Sony A6100. The reason being, I liked the color that was coming from the Canon M50, although I never bought it and used it. However, it was a little warm, a little red, and when I did a bit more research, I learned that inside these cameras are these sensors. And the sensors tend to either be small and because they have other features. Let's face it, it's not a very big piece of equipment to have it's not a very big piece to have so much going on in it. But I liked how the Sony just had more of what I call a realistic color, meaning I show up realistically as I am. But that didn't really solve the problem of having to put on the lens, because that's what gives me that sharp focus and then the nice, soft, dewy, movie star background. Let me show you what the built-in camera looks like, and you can just see. It's the same, kind of. You see everything, a bit brighter, a bit lighter, still in focus, still great. And then we move over to this, bit softer. Going back to that, then going back to this. And then I can go to my Brio. I only need that. Now, here's the other thing. We've got to move all this tchotchke mess out the way. So I have to have a lot of trouble with seeing all these wires. If you're not careful, if you're using an overhead camera, and here we go with all that pulsing again, you have that issue. So, because I couldn't get the 6100, it was out of stock, I got the next best thing, the Sony A6400. The word A just means alpha. They're now into Z's and V's and all of those, but this is this camera. I could go into giving you affiliate links to all of these things. I'm sharing the links with where you can get them. But I have a thing about, companies who like to pay a commission and make affiliates for folks to give them a bit of money. That's great. I'm not knocking it. I'm not judging it. But, I don't know that they're in the business to really give out a lot of money. Plus, I can tend to be a bit of a control freak, and I want to go where I want to go to buy what I want. In other words, if I can find something somewhere else that's at a discount or, a different price, I want to have the liberty of being able to do that. So I really haven't shared all kinds of different places. What I did, where I got my equipment from, was obviously Amazon, B&H Video, directly from the manufacturers. And where else did I buy them from? eBay. Sometimes you can get some pieces on eBay, pretty good. B&H Audio Video also have a gently used section that you can buy some pre-owned equipment. They will also buy back your equipment if you've got some stuff you want to sell. All right, let's move on to the lens I have in here. To get that nice, soft, dewy kind of background, I needed to upgrade the lens. So here we have a Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens. The 16mm allows for the wide angle and lets a lot of light come in. And the shutter speed is 1.4 aperture, if you will. I think that's what that means. Just lets you have that softness. I can also adjust the camera to lower light if I want to, make it even more fuzzy in the background. I've done it to such an extent sometimes where it's like I'm in one of those old Hollywood movies. It's kind of fun. This is the other reason I wanted to have fun with what I was doing, and I want to have all these options to do it. So these are just things I did to make what I'm doing just a little better for me. And what else can I say about the camera? Oh, if you're using an A6400, they have the capacity to record in 4K. I don't record in 4K, but they can do it. I get 1080p, I think that's what that is. But you're going to need a Camlink. This is by Elgato. The Camlink 4 is a little plug-in plug. It allows the images to come from the camera through the Camlink 4, this little baby, and go into your computer, so it makes sense, right? Now we've got your camera, we've got your recording, we've got your sound. Now we're going to move into how do you plug all this in and where do you put all this stuff? Well, stay tuned. All right then, so now I'm back on my iPhone and still using the same Samson G-Track Pro microphone, but I need to show you how I plug all this in. So we needed something mobile. Here we go. So here we go. Uh, this is how my laptop is. And so as I'm recording this, you can see the software that I'm using. I've got the sound levels here. Over here, I've got sound effects, and I've got this. This is all working off of a software program called Ecamm Live. Now, I am signing up to be an affiliate with them, and they do pay a pretty good commission. So if you're using a MacBook and you want something super, super easy to broadcast, whether you're doing recording or whether you're going to go live, Ecamm Live is the way to go. And I'll put a link down there for you to follow. I'm also going to include some Ecamm Live videos that will be amazing at making some of your videos polished. But let's move on to how and where and why and what does this all plug into. You notice my MacBook Pro is sitting elevated. It is on this MacBook stand. Why is that? Because this gets hot. So if it's sitting on the desk on this vinyl mat, it will get hot, may overheat. But going down a bit further, you can see I have this Targus control center. This is where everything plugs into. It's a 4K control center. This right here is the, let me just move my hand. This right here is the Logitech Pro camera I plugged into. Right back there is my Camlink 4. That is also plugged into here. The other end of it goes up into the camera. This is the power cord that plugs from here into, plugs this in. Then over here we have the other power cord, which is USB-C that goes up to my laptop. Now, the yellow cord right here is a DSL link. So what I like about this control center, if you will, is all the different connections you can get from it. This is put out by Targus. I will put a link underneath it. This one is the lead that's going to the camera that I'm using. The other end is a lightning connection. This is the DSL line that goes directly to the modem. If you are recording, or actually no, if you're going live and you do not have a direct connection, you can stand the risk of losing the Wi-Fi connection. And then your viewers are looking at a pixelated screen or no sound or all of this stuff being in and out. It's a big mess, particularly if you are recording. You want to just have direct feed, DSL, direct service link. I think that's what that means. Right here, again, is the cord that goes up to the laptop. This one, I believe, is the Camlink 4. This one is the Samsung G-Track Pro, and this is the power cord for this baby right here. Very, very important to have it all plugged into one place. Hope that's making sense to you. Let me turn this around. I think that's covered most of the things that you need. And I know it sounds like, whoa, my goodness, what in the world? What have I signed up for? How much is all this going to cost? I'm going to get to some final thoughts and some final tips and just give you the benefit of what I've learned and why I've learned it, just to help you a bit more. All right, stay tuned. So before I go ahead and wrap it all up, I wanted to go over the setting. You know, I broadcast this from a converted bedroom in my home. It's where I do the Zoom meetings. It's where I do a lot of my readings for clients who are not local. So for me, it was choosing a space that represented what I do and how I do it. It's important when you're getting yourself out there that social media, this being social media, what we're doing, we're getting out there with our face, with our brand, with what we're doing, what we're saying. That's just so vital. You can't really expect anybody to do business with you. This is what I learned a long time ago when social media was still coming up. And I was kicking and screaming, why do I have to do stories? Why do people need to follow me to the grocery store? Why do I need to talk about returning a tool to Home Depot? I mean, all of this to me seemed a little bit like, who wants to poke their nose into what I'm having for dinner? until a marketing person said, you're asking people to do business with you. You're inviting people into your home. You're inviting people into your life. You are asking people to relate to you, and they cannot relate to you unless they know something about you. And this is where the audio visual power of video, of live streaming, of chats comes into play. For me, it was in the beginning a little too woo up in your face. I remember one time I went into Michael's store, a craft store, and somebody came up to me and said, "You're the guy that does the daily videos." Yes, I am. So the point I'm making is, when you are setting something up to do something like this, use a space that matches more or less who you truly are. I mean, and that can also include, if you want to have your cup of coffee in the morning, you saying, let me have this. Folks talk all the time about the stuff that they are consuming and what they're doing. It makes you relatable. Now, if you're promoting a product, that's a whole different ball game, and I'm not going there. But I just wanted to say to you, don't have to have something huge and elaborate and go out and buy a whole bunch of crazy furniture. And I did that in the beginning. That was one of my first missteps. The walls of this room were just a pale light color, very similar to what's underneath that window. And I was talking to a friend of mine. We used to work fashion shows together for a big product line. And she said, "Dolly, I don't know what you're doing, but you've got to take that tablecloth off from the wall." And I had what I consider to be a lovely Indian mandala tapestry, but because I couldn't get it flat, and because it was all kind of wrinkled, it looked like a bed sheet. And then I went through this phase where I wanted to have all of these Christmas lights back there because I thought I wanted to have it all twinkling. She's like, "Well, now it looks like a carnival ride." So, you want friends like that to tell you the truth. And quite frankly, I painted that wall one afternoon. It's just called backdrop. You can go on the internet and you can look at backdrop paint, and you can see the kind of different paints you've got. And it is just simply painted. The artwork, because I'm in doing spiritual stuff, those are pieces that were commissioned, or I commissioned. Let me see if I can get a bit closer to them. These are pieces that I commissioned Jennifer Hawkyard to do. Now, Jennifer Hawkyard was the artist that did Kyle Gray's Angel Guide Oracle deck. She's got some lovely pieces on her website. Honestly, this is just a silk tree, hibiscus, whatever you want to call it. And then teddy bears. I'm kind of into teddy bears. So, there, look, you can see I've got just a $10 light down in there from Home Depot. And then up here, these things are like $7 from IKEA. This lamp I picked up in the chuck-away bin at IKEA. I fell in love with my little dragon. I've got a couple of singing bowls I picked up off eBay. This was a very lovely purchase. It is, I can't remember the name of the man, but he's Brazilian, and he actually carves these skulls right up out of the crystals. So these are just people that are all over here, all my little tarot cards underneath, a lovely singing bowl. These are things that when the cameras are on, there's all my prayer flags from when I was teaching yoga. These are all things that that are used to sort of bring some of the energy, some of the ambiance, some of the flavor of you into the room. So now I'm going to wrap up and give you some final thoughts, hopefully to help you on your way. Stay tuned. All right, my friends. So now we're back at a final wrap up. I hope this has been super, super helpful for you. I am going to drop some links down below the video. I think I've said that in a couple of pieces, just to help you. Listen, the biggest thing I can say about all of this, it has been a wild, wild ride. I can't say enough about, you have to have fun I mean, I think I got a new motto that if it isn't fun, I'm not doing it. That truly is. You also have to be okay with getting a bit silly, because really, the world right now is this crazy ratchet place that I don't even recognize. And sometimes I get into my sort of feeling a bit bad for being happy-go-lucky, giggly, crazy, silly, daft, fun. I do, because I think, oof, it could be a lot worse. I do walk the walk, talk the talk. I'm honest about the things that I do. I like sharing, like the teddy bears, my dogs. These are all little tiny things that bring the light, the blossom, the love, the everything that is you. I would say if you just feel intimidated or you feel a little put off by, oh my goodness, I can't afford it, or how am I ever going to get all of this stuff, or how am I ever going to learn all this stuff? Take it one step at a time, take it one piece at a time, take it. I think one of the things I loved about doing this is each time I did something, what I did next was a tiny bit better. I call it my 1%. If each day you do something 1% better than the day before, you're doing it, you're getting it. And eventually, over time, you'll get there. Taking your time, I'm not saying procrastinate. That's a whole nother subject. I'm not getting into that. But just not being rushing. You know, when you rush, you make mistakes, and it can get you into that place of the story of not being good enough, or this isn't good enough. The other nugget I will say is comparison is the thief of joy. You are joyful enough, you're brilliant enough, you're bright enough, you're glorious enough. Why do you need to be like someone else? They're already taken. They've already got their stuff going on. Just be you. Did I go through a period in my life where I didn't like the way I sounded, didn't like the way I looked? Yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. But this isn't about me. This isn't about trying to be something else. This is about your audience, your viewer. And I think that knits into the purpose. What is your purpose? What is your intention? And we hear it all the time in classes: intention, intention, intention. Wherever your focus goes, energy flows into that. If you're authentic and you're fun and you're bright, and that's how you truly are out in the world, people pick up on it. It's effervescent. It's just like infectious. Really quickly, I don't want to harp on this. It's this thing about failure. It's this thing about getting it wrong. It's this thing about not looking quite right. You have to get over it. I'm sorry, you've got to get over it. I learned when I was learning to teach how to have fun with failure, how to get it wrong, how to do it wrong. And the exercise I remember doing was, we had these cue cards on the side of the walls. They were like the tenets of yoga, organizing principles of the style of blah, blah, blah. It was like feet on 12 o'clock, inner ankles back, outer ankles down, soft knees, pelvis tilted. It was all this. There was a whole list. We had to look at the list, the timer went off, and we had to then repeat it to the person in front of us. If we got them all right, they did this. If we got it all wrong, they did this. We had to do it again. We had to keep doing this over and over and over to get this, right? The point being, at some point in this ridiculously silly exercise, you learn, or I learned, to drop this mask, drop this idea that failure meant that I was a failure. Failure meant that I was an idiot. Failure meant that I was all these awful, wretched things other people told me I was, and I believed it. That's all a lie. You know those folks who claim all of their mess? Let your mess be your message. That's it. You let your mess be your message. You give other people permission to not deliberately create a mess. I'm not saying go out there and act like a fool when you're not a fool really, but when you do make a mistake, like the camera pulsing, going crazy, or like some days the sound doesn't come off and I put it in my software program and it all goes beep, I have to do it all again. But I claim it, I own it, I say, yes, this is what's going on. So that's the bottom line, really. I hope that this has been super, super helpful for you. I've had fun putting it together, and I am thrilled beyond words to even be able to do this. I'm going to drop the links down below. I'm going to wish you all the success in the world. And if you want to know, I'm having a problem with this, I need help with that, you just get in touch. All the love, all the best wishes. Take it easy.